Talent in Slam Dunk is bursting. Chapter 1. Coach, I want to play basketball. Shohoku basketball team, exhausted in a desperate battle with Sannoh, ended their national tournament run in an unbelievable loss to Iwagakuen in Game 3. The goal of dominating the country has not been realized in the end. Maybe this is youth, profound, but not perfect. It's over again. Silently staring at the frozen ending screen, Hanamichi couldn't remember how many times he watched this video on Station B. Slam Dunk. An anime that accompanied Hanamichi's childhood and had a profound influence on him. Even after more than 10 years, it's almost 30 years old. When I see those familiar characters and hear those familiar dialogues again, I still can't bear it. Live tears. This is the lost youth. Looking down at his empty legs, stroking the cold wheelchair under his body, he couldn't help but recall the kind face of Coach Anze in the video just now. Hanamichi said bitterly to himself, "Coach, I want to play basketball." However, just as he finished speaking, an inexplicable sound suddenly sounded in Hanamichi's ear. "As you wish." Before Hanamichi could respond, he just felt his head sank, and he lost consciousness immediately. After an unknown amount of time, a burst of apologetic voices brought Hanamichi's consciousness back to reality. "I'm sorry, Sakuragi, but I like Oda from the basketball team." "Sakuragi? Oda, what the hell?" Gradually regaining consciousness, the object of entry is a petite and thin figure in a Japanese school uniform from the back, gradually going away. Before Hanamichi could figure out his current situation, a series of strange memories suddenly burst into his mind. For a moment, the whole person froze in place. The pictures are like a slideshow, playing in my mind. In the process, Hanamichi understood where he was now. He crossed over and became Sakuragi Hanamichi, one of the protagonists of Slam Dunk. Could it be because my surname is Hana and my name is Deo, so I became Sakuragi Hanamichi? What happened to the voice before crossing? I didn't get too entangled in this issue, because the facts could not be changed, absorb the memories in my mind, and read a lot of time-traveling novels in my previous life. Hanamichi's sense of repulsion towards his current situation disappeared immediately. Since you can't resist, you can only choose to accept it. And the current results are obviously very good. Influenced by the anime Slam Dunk in his previous life, Hanamichi aspired to become a basketball player since he was a child, and his own talent is considered excellent. He became a starting member of the school team in junior high school and began to receive more formal and systematic training. So far, it has officially embarked on the journey of becoming a basketball player. After entering high school, with the development of his body and the improvement and maturity of his skills, he still firmly occupied the starting position of the school team, and was even trained as a core for a time. If this trajectory has been followed, Hanamichi will most likely be able to enter the professional basketball arena in the future. Unfortunately, everything was destroyed by a car accident, both legs were amputated, and the dream was ruined. For a time, Hanamichi was depressed and could only find solace in the virtual world. Slam Dunk, the anime that led him to the road of basketball, was often patronized by him. Of course, everything is different now, because he crossed over and became Sakuragi Hanamichi with explosive physical fitness. Great, I can play basketball again. At this moment, Hanamichi's face showed uncontrollable excitement. It's just that reality didn't give him much room to talk to himself. A few figures rushed out from the grass not far away, and walked over quickly, laughing as they walked. Today is the 50th. Congratulations, Hanamichi! In the 3 years of junior high school, you have set a record of being rejected by 50 girls in a row. Not to mention that there will be no one to come after, but it is definitely the top 5 ancients, and no one can break your record. Ha ha ha, Hanamichi, you can graduate with peace of mind. The teasing words in his ear didn't make Hanamichi feel angry. After all, if the age of the 2 lifetimes is added up, they are already over 40 years old. Such insignificant things will definitely not cause him too much mood swings. He just wants to do it now. One thing. Play basketball. And Hanamichi's calm attitude made the 4 people in front of him extremely uneasy. He always felt that this was the calm before the storm, and subconsciously opened the distance between himself and Hanamichi. Hanamichi, what do you want to do? Yohei had a wary look on his face, and the other 3 also had the same expressions. Yohei, Yuji, Chuichiro, Wang. Even without absorbing the memory of Sakuragi Hanamichi, Hanamichi knew the 4 people in front of him. Looking at the tense faces of the 4 people, there was an indescribable intimacy in his heart. They are all his brothers. Thinking of this point, Hanamichi couldn't help but think of a very famous advertisement in his previous life. No brothers, no basketball. Thinking of this, Hanamika's expression suddenly became very serious, and he solemnly announced to the four who were about to run away, "I want to play basketball." For Yohei, hey. Chapter 2. Because I'm a genius. In Kanagawa Prefecture, an outdoor basketball court. Hanamichi, you are serious. Recalling the previous situation, Yohei looked at his excited friend who was holding the basketball he just bought, and asked tentatively, "Is it because of Oda from the basketball team?" Hearing this, the three of Yuji's minds immediately became active. After looking at each other, they looked over with some amusement. "Hanamichi, you don't want to practice basketball, and then go and beat that Oda to get Yuzui back. Basketball isn't about fighting, Oda is the leader of the basketball team, Hanamichi, don't worry about it. Yeah, if we really can't get angry, we can definitely teach that guy a lesson, play basketball or something, let's forget it." Hearing what the three of Yuji said, Yohei stepped forward and persuaded, "Hanamichi, just like Yuji and the others said, forget it, basketball is different from fighting, good health is not enough, it has to be for a long time, it takes repeated practice to produce results, and we are about to enter higher education." Seeing the four people with worried faces, Hanamichi shook his head slightly and responded, "It has nothing to do with Oda and Yuzui, I just want to play basketball." The familiar touch from the basketball in his hand made Hanamichi completely unable to control his emotions. After more than 10 years, he can finally play basketball again. Immediately, without waiting for a response, he dribbled directly to the basket. However, Hanamichi somewhat overestimated his current dribbling level. After all, he has changed his body, and he has not touched basketball for more than 10 years. His skills must have regressed very seriously, but these are not important. Originally thought that he had no chance to fulfill his dream, but since God gave him another chance, Hanamichi will never let his dream slip away from his hands again. Set a small goal first, make up for childhood regrets and help Shohoku dominate the country. Stumbling and dribbling the basketball to the three-point line, Hanamichi showed no sense of frustration on his face. Instead, he was extremely excited. Holding the basketball with both hands, he accelerated to the free throw line. The whistling wind in my ears, the substantial touch under my feet, the beating heart. Everything is real, sure this is not a dream. Boom! Taking a step inside the free throw line, Hanamichi stepped on his right foot, and his body flew up. The feeling of fighting gravity and winning made him more excited, and the explosive power in his body made him extremely excited. Satisfy! He kept moving, grasping the basketball tightly with both hands, swung it in a semicircle from bottom to top, and then smashed it into the basket heavily. Boom! The iron basket was obviously bent, and the entire basket creaked even more, as if it could not bear the force and was about to shatter. Letting go of his hands and falling to the ground, Hanamichi turned around, looked at the stunned four people not far away, and grinned, "1 month is enough, because I am a genius." Normally, if Hanamichi dared to say such words, the four Yohei would definitely tease them, but now, after seeing that domineering slam dunk, the four of them were all shocked, and there was a question in their hearts that they were a little hard to veto. Idea. Hanamichi might really be a genius. Basketball genius. It's just that a slam dunk can't vent the passion in Hanamika's heart at this time, and he doesn't care about the four of Yohei. After that, he began to wantonly vent the suppressed emotions that have been squeezed in his heart for more than 10 years. Since dribbling, shooting, and other skills have not yet returned to their original level, the new body still needs time to adapt. In the following time, Hanamichi chose the most direct way of venting and adapting, that is, running and dunking. All of a sudden, there were heart-pounding slam dunk sounds in the basketball court from time to time, and even many passers-by were attracted by the scene full of violent aesthetics in the court, and stopped to watch. It's so strong, this jump is too high, and the strength is also very strong. Wearing the clothes of a junior high school student, is this red-haired boy Kaed Rukawa, the super rookie of this year's junior high school contest. I feel that among junior high school students, only Kaed Rukawa has this ability. The current middle school students are really too strong. Just watching from a distance makes my blood boil. Who said it wasn't? As the crowd of onlookers gradually increased, more and more people entered the basketball hall, stopped to watch Hanamika's slam dunk show, and praised him from time to time. This surprised the four of Yohei and seemed to understand why Hanamichi chose basketball. It turns out that you can be so popular, no wonder Hanamichi wants to play basketball. The four looked at each other and smiled. At this time, Hanamichi, who didn't want to be pointed out like a monkey all the time, ended this adaptation and went with a tomahawk dunk. This body was born for basketball, it's perfect. Hanamichi sighed inwardly. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. But in most cases, this 1% inspiration plays a decisive role. This is especially evident in competitive sports. Sweat gets you above par, but talent is essential to get to the top. And Hanamichi's current talent is obviously extremely good, it can be called genius. In this life, dreams are no longer so far away. Making up his mind secretly, Hanamichi and Yohei left the basketball court together with the applause and admiration of the audience around them. Hanamichi, however, was a bit depressed. Goddamn Kaed Rukawa, I'm a genius. Sakuragi Hanamichi. Chapter 3, I Still Have You. The entrance examination from junior high school to high school is over soon. Relying on Sakuragi's memory and his own ability, Hanamichi failed the exam without accident and was successfully admitted to Shohoku High School. The spring break lasted for nearly a month. Hanamichi naturally would not waste it in vain, and devoted himself to training, taking Yohei and 4 to the field from time to time to play 3v3. As for why they don't play full court 5v5, there's no way, they can't be played. The 4 of Yohei don't play basketball at all, and they don't have any interest in learning. That is to say, in this intense atmosphere, the sun rises and the sun sets, and the time of January passes away quietly. The season of cherry blossoms has arrived, which heralds the coming of the school season. Prefectural Shohoku High School, in Class 7 of the year. It's finally the day, and I'm a little excited. Sitting at the window, the breeze was blowing, carrying the fragrance of cherry blossoms, while blowing Hanamichi's hair, it also touched his heartstrings. Compared with the immature students around him, the calm temperament on his body is particularly prominent. And it must be admitted that Sakuragi Hanamichi's appearance is still a bit handsome, with wheat-colored skin showing the demeanor of a sports boy, a tall figure like a hanger, and that neat short red hair adding a lot of points to it. The immediate result was that the girls gathered not far away all looked this way intentionally or unintentionally, and their cheeks were blushing slightly. This scene completely fell into Yohei's eyes. Looking at the calm Hanamichi, recalling all the experiences of this month, he sighed in his heart, if I didn't see it with my own eyes, it's really hard to believe. Change can happen so suddenly and so completely. And so it is. During this month, I thought it was just a 3-minute enthusiasm, but Hanamichi persisted completely, and he still devoted himself wholeheartedly. The rapid progress made people feel extremely ashamed. In the current Kanagawa Field Stadium, who doesn't know the red-haired devil? The violent style of play makes the spectators feel excited, while the opponent is heartbroken. Being dunked and blocked is a common occurrence. The direct consequence is that no one dares to play basketball with Hanamichi again. Of course, except when you are a teammate. And at this time, Hanamichi finally recovered from the state of his thoughts, put his school bag in the drawer, got up and walked to Yohei's side. Let's go, accompany me to the basketball court. Okay. Nodding his head, Yohei gestured to the female voices in the front row who were peeping, and teased, are you really sorry? No, I just want to concentrate on playing basketball now. Hanamichi said seriously. Hearing this, Yohei was taken aback for a moment, then smiled and asked, aren't you lonely if you only play basketball? Didn't I have you? Yeah, you have us. The warmth in my heart didn't last too long, and Yohei said angrily, Hanamichi, when are you going to pay us back? That's the hard-earned money earned by me and Awang. Why do I have to pay back the money I borrowed on my own? Without waiting for Yohei to react, Hanamichi walked out of the classroom directly. Looking at the back of Hanamichi leaving quickly, Yohei smiled knowingly, this guy, it really hasn't changed at all. Then he got up and followed. As soon as Hanamichi walked out of the classroom, Yuji who was assigned to another class, Choichiro and Nozomi Takamiya greeted him, and Yohei who came behind him. Sakuragi's gang was assembled. I can continue to play basketball in this life. I have such excellent talent and a group of brothers who are heart to heart. I will cherish all of this. You can rest assured, Sakuragi Hanamichi. It was at this moment that the other emotions that had been pent up in Hanamichi's body completely dissipated, and he finally took full control of this body. From now on, I am Sakuragi Hanamichi. I don't know if it's an illusion, but after the thorough fusion of consciousness and body, Hanamichi felt that his eyes and ears became more sensitive, and his body had a new look. Let's go to the basketball court as soon as possible. The recruiting of clubs will start tomorrow. There should be no one there right now. Thinking of this, Hanamichi greeted the four yohei around him, and the group walked towards the basketball hall in a mighty manner. During the period, there were many freshmen who knew their small group. For a while, the name of Sakuragi's gang was also spread in Shohoku High School. For these, Hanamichi naturally didn't care about it, he just wants to play basketball now. Walking out along the corridor, looking at the scene outside the teaching building through the window next to him from time to time, for some reason, Hanamichi felt a little nervous in his heart. However, before he reached the stairs, a questioning voice came from behind him with a sweet voice but a little lack of confidence. Excuse me, may I ask, do you like basketball? Chapter 4, Akagi Haruko. Excuse me, may I ask, do you like basketball? Turning around to look, he saw a petite figure. The black hair fluttered neatly over her shoulders, not only pure, but also cute. The eyes that are gentle and watery now have an obvious look of anticipation, which makes people unable to feel a sense of rejection. Coupled with that amazing face that doesn't need much modification, I must admit that the girl in front of me is very beautiful and pure. Even Hanamichi, who had dabbled in all types of beauties in his previous life, couldn't help being stunned at this time. There is no other, just because the girl in front of her is not comparable to those gold diggers, green tea whores, and coquettish sluts in her previous life. It is better than a pure word. Akagi Haruko, this is my first childhood love. Hanamichi felt a little complicated. People who have watched Slam Dunk must have had the same experience as Hanamichi. This girl with a petite figure, a beautiful face, a simple and kind personality, and a strong personality is definitely the first love of the nation. At this moment, not only Hanamichi was stunned, but the four yohei beside him also stood there dumbfounded. Because this was the first time a girl approached them actively, and the key point was that she was such a good-looking girl, so they couldn't help but be surprised. At the same time, Akagi Haruko didn't feel this at all. After simply looking at Hanamichi, he was immediately amazed. You are so tall, I don't know who is taller than Kaed Rukawa. Goddamn Kaed Rukawa. Thinking of his previous experience of being misidentified, Hanamichi subconsciously felt a little uncomfortable. And for some unknown reason, Hanamichi didn't like Kaed Rukawa, who had never been masked in the strict sense, and when he contacted Haruko in front of him, his mood suddenly became more complicated. Forget it, let's just concentrate on basketball and let everything else take its course. For these youthful little girls in front of him, Hanamichi can't give birth to the desire to pursue, and it feels very evil when he thinks about it. After all, it is still 3 years old. Naturally, Haruko didn't know about this, and immediately started to touch Hanamika's strong arms and legs, and was immediately surprised again. Wow, great arm muscles. Legs too. You must be an athlete. Speaking of this, Haruko couldn't help showing a smile. Boys who like sports are amazing. Do you like basketball? Hanamichi is not an innocent boy. After a short period of stupefaction, he quickly reacted, took a step back slightly, smiled indifferently at Haruko who was looking at him expectantly, and responded, I like basketball. I don't know you. Can you take me to the basketball court to see it? Going to the basketball court. After hesitating for less than a second, Haruko nodded and said, okay, I just want to see your basketball level, and I will tell you secretly, my big brother is the captain of the basketball team. I can recommend you to Big Brother O. It has to be admitted that a girl like Haruko who doesn't want to guard against people really doesn't feel malicious at all. Just like at this time, even Yohei, who was always extremely calm, felt a little embarrassed, let alone Yuji and the others, they were all blushing like innocent teenagers. There's no way, with the name of a bad boy, and the lack of interest in their looks, the three of them have never had such a close contact with such a beautiful girl. In the following time, the group chatted like this, while walking towards the basketball court, under Yuji's gag, they laughed and laughed from time to time, attracting the attention of the surrounding students. But at this time, what Hanamichi didn't know was that at the other end of the aisle, several tall, gloomy-looking seniors had already set their sights on them. The red-haired Sakuragi Hanamichi, I've heard of him, he seemed to be the core figure in the bad group of Wako Middle School before, and it seems that he should have been admitted to our school. Sakuragi Hanamichi. That hair looks really arrogant. Let's go to the next gauntlet later. Shohoku is our territory. Okay, then make an appointment after school, on the rooftop. Well, remember to call Aid and the others, those guys don't look simple. No. At the same time, Hanamichi and his party have arrived at the basketball gymnasium of Shohoku High School. Compared with those stadiums in the previous life, the basketball stadium in front of him is undoubtedly very far away, and it looks a little old, but it doesn't affect Hanamichi's mood at all. Because this is where the dream begins, the dream of wanting to dominate the country. The gate was not locked, and after a group of people pulled it open, they filed in directly. Different from the old scene outside, the inside of the museum is very clean and tidy, and it is obvious that it has been carefully cared for. This is the first time Hanamichi has stepped into a formal basketball arena after time traveling. Naturally, the throbbing in his heart is not much, and many memories of his previous life have emerged in his mind. Immediately, he ignored the people around him and quickly walked towards the basketball that was left alone on the floor. This guy Hanamichi is doing it again. This seems to be the first time he has entered a formal basketball stadium, no wonder he is so excited. Why do I feel that Hanamichi is getting farther and farther away from us, and more like a sports boy? It's not like, he's already a sports boy. Yohei continued with a solemn look, and Hanamichi has never been far away from us, as he said before, we are brothers, the kind of life. Well, brothers for life. Yuji, Chuichiro and Awang all looked very solemn. As for Haruko, she was staring at Hanamichi's back at this time, her eyes full of anticipation, and she murmured in a voice that she could only hear herself, Sakuragi, I have a feeling that you will become the basketball team savior. At this time, Hanamichi had already picked up the basketball, stood in the basketball court, and after taking a few deep breaths, he had no reservations and was ready to formally test his current basketball strength. Chapter 5, Zone. Boom boom boom. The sound of rhythmic dribbling sounded in the empty stadium, attracting the attention of Haruko and others. Compared with the stumbles a month ago, Hanamichi's ball handling at this time is very different, anyway, Yohei and the others think so. As for Haruko, this time is also very exciting. Amazing, Sakuragi is amazing. This is far from worthy of the word great. Hanamichi himself knows that his current ball control is far from returning to the level of his previous life, let alone reaching the top. After all, even if it is to delete the account and retrain, with various experiences in previous lives, muscle memory cannot be formed overnight. In the absence of defenders, Hanamichi can also regulate his various technical movements interestingly. Once there are defenders, after the confrontation intensity increases, it will be impossible to be as relaxed as it is now, and flaws will definitely be exposed. It's too fast to reach this level in a month, so don't be too greedy. Without thinking too much, Hanamichi took off one step inside the free throw line under the rapid dribble, soared into the air like a wild goose, grasping the basketball tightly with one hand, completed the bow shape with the whole body, and pressed the basketball to the hoop. Boom! The entire hoop vibrated, and Hanamichi just hung with one hand on the bent rim. After fully merging the body, I can finally take off and slam dunk with one step from the free throw line. Released his right hand, landed smoothly on the ground, picked up the basketball, and jumped up on the spot, which was a powerful slam dunk. For his physical fitness, Hanamichi is now indescribably satisfied. Except for technology, every aspect has basically reached the top state among his peers. The peers here are not just island countries, but the whole world. In this life, I will definitely step on that final stage. Secretly made up his mind, Hanamichi began to test his shooting level under the stunned expression of Haruko not far away. Compared with the previous slam dunk, the shooting is a bit horrible. I won't say the specific value. It hurts. This month is basically training the basics and adapting to the new body. I have very little shooting practice, which is reasonable. Picking up the basketball that jumped out of the hoop, Hanamichi suddenly became focused. At this moment, he felt that everything around him seemed to slow down, and his senses became stronger and stronger. Not far away, Haruko's expression of regret and excitement, Yohei's teasing eyes, his powerful beating heart, and everything around him seemed to be under his control. After coming out of the three-point line and posing for a shot, Hanamichi found that the basket seemed to have grown a lot, and his control over strength had increased by several orders of magnitude. The right hand is dragging the basketball, the left hand is used as a support, the knees are slightly bent, the waist, the various points of shooting emerge in Hanamichi's heart, and he throws the ball according to his feeling. With a spin, the basketball crossed a beautiful arc and fell into the basket. hollow into the net, the sound is crisp and pleasant. For this result, Hanamichi was not surprised at all. The moment the ball was thrown, he knew that the ball would definitely be scored. This feeling of being in control makes Hanamichi very nostalgic, but reason tells him that it is time to get out of this state. As soon as he exited, his head felt dizzy for a while, and his eyes felt a little sour. The whole process lasted for 3 seconds before returning to normal. Sure enough, this ability has side effects, but now it seems that the side effects are still within the acceptable range. With a murmur in his heart, recalling the feeling of being in control just now, Hanamichi's eyes flashed with desire and doubt. What kind of ability is this? After fully concentrating, you will naturally enter that state, fully display your strength, and assist shooting accuracy to a certain extent. Thinking of this, a kind of ability that appeared in a fantasy basketball anime in the previous life came to Hanamichi's mind. It feels a bit similar to Zone. I wonder if it incorporates the ability awakened by the spiritual soul of the predecessor. Unable to figure it out, Hanamichi stopped thinking about it and whispered, "Forget it, I will call you Zone from now on. When I am alone, I will test my strength in that state and the ability to last the longest." When he recovered, Hanamichi found that Haruko and Yohei had come to him at some point, and looked at him suspiciously. "Hanamichi, why are you stunned?" "Hey, it can't be that I'm so happy after making a three-pointer with good luck. I think it's possible, Hanamichi's shot is terrible. But Hanamichi's dribbling is so good now, it's not funny anymore." Hearing this, the corners of Hanamichi's mouth twitched, and the CO authors watched his training just to see jokes. No wonder they stopped training with him and went to work to earn pocket money. But thinking that the pocket money Yohei and the others earned ended up in his own hands and turned into basketball shoes, Hanamichi's mood suddenly became clearer. It is good to have brothers to help share. Living in a divorced family whose father passed away due to untimely rescue, although the mother in the United States will send a living allowance every month, but to be honest, Hanamichi is still under a lot of pressure. If there is a chance, I have to find a way to make money. Hanamichi thought to himself. Before, he could earn some pocket money on the field, but now the opponent basically doesn't play with him. It can only be said that the strong are doomed to be alone. But at this time, seeing that Hanamichi was speechless, Haruko couldn't help comforting him. "Sakuragi, your physical talent is so good, and your shooting ability must have been developed before. Don't be too sad." Oh! For Hanamichi, Yohei and the others knew each other very well. How could they be so fragile? Seeing Haruko actually comforted him at this time, as a brother, it was necessary to coax him. Hanamichi didn't feel much about this, but Haruko's skin was thin, and he immediately got a big blush. After glancing at Hanamichi, he kicked his feet and said in shame, I'll give it to Big Brother." Delivered a lunchbox. Turned around and ran out of the arena quickly. Seeing this, the smiles on the faces of the four Yohei became even bigger, and they all looked over teasingly. "Hanamichi, your spring is here again. I'm really envious. Why don't I have any pretty girls who take the initiative to strike up a conversation with? I'm not bad looking, don't you think? Ah Wang, you should find a way to lose weight first. I'm heartbroken." For a while, the four of them started fighting in the basketball hall. Seeing this scene, Hanamichi shook his head with a chuckle, put the basketball in his hand into the side cabinet, and joined in. There was endless laughter. Not long after, the lunch break came to an end, and the students all returned to the classroom, ready to start the afternoon classes, and Hanamichi and the others were no exception. In the dream, the afternoon passed quickly, but just when Hanamichi and his party had just assembled at the door of the classroom, a few senior students walked over quickly and said bluntly, "You guys come with me, let's take a walk on the rooftop." Chapter 6. Dominate the country. In island schools in this era, there will basically be an extremely xenophobic bad group, most of whose members are made up of bad students in senior grades. As a prefectural high school, Shohoku is no exception. As outsiders, Hanamichi and the others naturally attracted the attention of these people. No way, Hanamichi's red hair is really too conspicuous. When I got a haircut before, I saw that red hair looked good, so Hanamichi didn't dye it back, definitely not because he didn't want to spend money. Hanamichi didn't want to pay attention to this kind of provocation that came to his door, but the stubborn figure that appeared in his mind made him change his mind, and brought Yohei and four to the appointment. At this time, outside the roof of the teaching building. Crack! Hanamichi and his group followed a senior man and pushed open the iron gate, but the scene they entered made people stunned. At this time, I saw several senior students lying on the roof in disorder. On the side, a figure of more than 1.8 meters tall was the only person present who was still standing, very conspicuous. This guy is Kaed Rukawa. Hanamichi was unsure. The senior student who came to pass the message was the first to react, and rushed over quickly. Ahole, what did you do to Hoda and the others? One of the gang. Kaed Rukawa turned around. What came into view was a handsome face, but at this moment, the forehead was covered with blood, which looked a little scary. Tall and thin body, handsome face, coupled with that cool temperament, is indeed very fatal to the little girl, and he plays basketball well, no wonder the popularity is so high, but unfortunately, the level of fighting is not good. Appreciating Kaed Rukawa's confrontation with each other with relish, Hanamichi and Yahei closed the door by the way to prevent anyone from disturbing them. This little boy is so tall, but he doesn't know how to fight at all. He is really blind to his height and appearance. Ah Wang said sourly. You are obviously envious of other people's looks and height. Drink more milk and exercise regularly. You are still young and you will definitely grow taller again. That's right, one must never give up hope in one's lifetime. Listening to the teasing of Wang by the three of Yahei, Hanamichi smiled and made a timely supplement. Growing height is the second priority, weight loss is the top priority of Wang now, otherwise I won't be able to find a girlfriend. You, how can you say that? Looking down at his 5-month pregnant belly, and comparing his height, Ah Wang felt desperate. However, reality did not give them a chance to continue wrangling. After knocking down his opponent, Kaed Rukawa stepped forward. Are you guys with those guys? No. Shaking his head, looking at Kaed Rukawa's trembling body, Hanamichi smiled lightly. You are Kaed Rukawa, let's get to know each other. I am Sakuragi Hanamichi. I will join the basketball team in the future, and we will be teammates by then. Oh. Nodding perfunctorily, Kaed Rukawa directly bypassed Hanamichi and his group, opened the iron gate, and walked out of the rooftop. Looking at it, he should be going to the infirmary to treat the wound. Is this boy Kaed Rukawa? The super rookie from Fukia Middle School. Even if they didn't play basketball, Yahei and the others knew a little bit about those famous basketball figures in Kanagawa Prefecture. Of course, just knowing the person's name doesn't match the person's appearance. Hearing the question, Hanamichi looked away and responded, it's him, as expected, his personality is a little cold. He is a super rookie after all, so he must look down on people like us. I heard that when this little boy plays basketball, there is a special cheerleading team to cheer him up. I'm really envious. By the way, with that guy's fame and strength, why would he join Shohoku? There should be many schools that would invite him. Seeing that everyone looked at him again, Hanamichi shrugged and said, who knows, maybe it's because it's closer to home. Immediately, under the disdainful eyes of the four people, they walked towards the few people who had climbed up from the ground not far away. Seeing this, the expressions of several people became more and more gloomy, and they directly vented their grievances of being beaten on Hanamichi and the others, with a bad look on their faces. Boy, why are you here? Are you trying to take advantage of someone's danger? If you want to fight, we will accompany you. Today we must let you know how powerful we are. Looking at the very stubborn people, Hanamichi smiled and said, don't worry, I'm not here to fight, but I just want to ask you something. TCH, boy, do you think we'll talk? Then there's no way. Turning his head, he motioned to the four of Yahei. With a comprehension, Ah Wang walked directly to the iron gate, closed it again, and guarded the door. The other three walked over quickly. Soon, bursts of miserable wailing sounded on the rooftop. The heart of the listener trembles, and the one who hears it is afraid. 5 minutes later, Hanamichi and his group stepped down from the rooftop in good spirits, laughing and communicating with each other as they walked. It's really boring. I really don't know how they became bad guys. They're too weak. However, the mouths of those guys are quite stiff, and they persisted for so long before they spoke. Yet, my hands are sore. Hanamichi, are you going to the hospital to meet that guy named Hisashi Mitsui now? The four once again focused their attention on Hanamichi. For their own brother, they really couldn't see through it now, but this did not affect the relationship between them. Good brother, that must be a lifetime. Hearing this, Hanamichi did not hide any thoughts, and directly admitted, well, if you want to dominate the country, the basketball team needs that guy. Dominate the country. The four of Yohei seemed to be meeting Hanamichi for the first time, their eyes filled with disbelief. Without him, if this kind of thing is placed on recognized strong teams such as Kanon and Shoyo, it is still convincing, but a team like Shohoku who has been in the first round for 10,000 years, well, don't blame us for looking down on you. Hanamichi couldn't see what the four of them were thinking, but it didn't affect his state of mind. Yes, dominate the country. Hanamichi looked extremely determined. At this moment, under the backdrop of the setting sun, in the eyes of the four Yohei, Hanamichi's figure gradually grew taller. At the same time, the door of the Shohoku infirmary. Kaed-rukawa, who had finished bandaging, couldn't help but see Hanamichi in his mind, muttering in his mouth, Sakuragi Hanamichi, is about the same height as me, how about his skills? Chapter 7, Success is not accidental. Kanagawa National Hospital. Those guys are really unkind. Thinking of the scene where the four of Yohei were running away with various reasons, Hanamichi was speechless for a while, glanced at the house number in front of him, and after confirming that it was correct, he pushed the door and walked in. This is a single ward, the furnishings and decoration are not comparable to ordinary wards, and there is a fragrance in the air, without the pungent smell of medicine in the corridor. It can be seen from this that the economic conditions of Mitsui's family are still very good. Kindness. Mitsui raised his head from the hospital bed when he heard the door open, saw Hanamichi's face, frowned and asked, "Who are you?" Sakuragi Hanamichi. After closing the door, Hanamichi walked to the hospital bed, looked at Mitsui, who was missing two front teeth, with a decadent and puzzled expression, and explained, "Shohoku is a first-year student, a teammate of your basketball team." Basketball team. As if recalling some unfriendly memory, Mitsui's expression immediately turned cold. For Mitsui in front of him, Hanamichi has no malice. When watching anime, he even admired this flame man who never gave up. When the prodigal son turns back, he will not be exchanged for gold. That's Mitsui. However, looking at this guy's cold face now, Hanamichi found that it seems that words can't bring him back to the right path, and he couldn't help but feel a little headache. Persuading people is really the most troublesome thing. Taking a deep look at Mitsui, whose expression became more and more excited, Hanamichi said, "I hope you can return to the basketball team as soon as possible. If you want to realize the dream of dominating the country, you are an indispensable member." Seeing that Mitsui didn't say anything at all, Hanamichi felt helpless. "I won't talk about the truth. With your current physical condition, you should not be discharged from the hospital in a short time. I will try to bring Coach Anze here as soon as possible." After speaking, without waiting for Mitsui to respond, he turned around and walked out of the ward. Coach Anze. A kind figure unconsciously appeared in my mind, and many memory images that had been sealed all the time emerged. Mitsui's eyes unconsciously appeared a few drops of crystal, which were mixed with longing and nostalgia, and also had obvious struggles. Mouth murmured. "You must be very disappointed when you see my current appearance. Can that dream really come true?" While muttering, Mitsui just lay quietly on the hospital bed, staring blankly at the white ceiling, dazed. Mitsui's situation at this time, Hanamichi will naturally not know. Walking in the aisle full of disinfection smell, Hanamichi's face hurts, walk for more than half an hour to get here, and left after saying something, "It's so FG idle." To be honest, Hanamichi is really speechless for Coach Anze. Mitsui has become what he is now, and this mate Raya Buddha is definitely the first one. The old age care is too thorough. Injured in the first year of high school, and now in the third year of high school, the Buddhist coach did not take the initiative to find Mitsui, the former disciple, and was also drunk. In other words, if there is no window period of more than a year, how strong will Mitsui be now? This is a question that has no answer. "I hope Coach Anze can show up normally tomorrow," Hanamichi said expectantly. Even if he was going home, he was faced with an empty house, so he didn't go home right away. Walking aimlessly on the street with people coming and going, Hanamichi unconsciously felt a touch of loneliness in his heart. The white clouds in the west were red, and the sky was gradually getting dark. When Hanamichi was bored and ready to go home, there was a sound of dribbling from the basketball court on the side of the road. Is anyone still playing basketball at this late hour? Following the sound, he saw a familiar figure. I saw that Kaed Rukawa was practicing dribbling and shooting alone. His wet hair and back indicated that he had been practicing for a while. Success is no accident. His eyes lit up. Hanamichi walked into the basketball court, and said with a smile, it's too boring to be alone, how about adding me? The abrupt voice made Kaed involuntarily stop his movements, and looked over. Hanamichi's iconic hair is very easy to recognize, so he was recognized naturally, but Kaed paralyzed face can't see much emotion. Can. Nodding lightly, without too many words, Kaed directly passed the basketball in his hand. 10 goals, you attack first. Is this trying to test my strength? After dribbling the basketball a few times, looking for his feeling, Hanamichi looked at Kaed who was waiting in front of him. I'm coming. In the past, I always trained alone, and the opponents I encountered in the field were too weak, and I had never played against strong players. This is an anime world that cannot be viewed with common sense, so Hanamichi's understanding of his own strength is still somewhat general. When meeting Kaed this time, in addition to wanting to test his strength, Hanamichi also deliberately wanted to test his current actual combat ability. Without the slightest reservation, the firepower was fully fired, and with a feint, Hanamichi, like a bolt of lightning, broke through directly from Kaed right side, and in the blink of an eye, he was half a body away. So fast! The contempt in his heart dissipated completely, and Kaed reacted quickly, turned around, opened his hands, and entangled him. As expected of Kaed this can catch up. My family knows my own affairs. In the past month, what Hanamichi has focused on in terms of breakthroughs is his first step. Relying on his own top-level explosive power, ordinary people will be directly thrown away with just one step. But Kaed was able to keep up, which shows that his reflexes and speed are top-notch, but this guy is not perfect. The confrontation is too weak. Feeling the strength from the opponent, Hanamichi dribbled the ball without any deformation, and went straight to the basket, resisting Kaed for a layup hit the board into the frame. Suck, breathe. After gasping for breath a few times, Kaed looked at the relaxed Hanamichi with the same face as before, and said seriously, come again. As you wish. After a round of confrontation, Hanamichi found that regardless of basketball skills, Kaed is not far behind him in terms of athletic ability and explosive power, but in terms of the most direct physical confrontation ability, it is conservatively estimated that he is at least stronger than Rukawa. Up a level. After all, basketball is a confrontational competitive sport, and the importance of physical confrontation ability is certainly needless to say. Just like in the second round, Hanamichi didn't change his tactics at all. Relying on his extremely quick breakthrough first step, coupled with his advantages in physical confrontation, Hanamichi scored another goal without spending too much effort. Come again. Kaed face became more and more cold. It is obviously unacceptable to lose to a student of the same grade who has never heard of it. But thinking of the gap between the two sides in terms of confrontation, even Kaed who is arrogant by nature and fully confident in his own strength, can't help but feel a little headache. For a while, he couldn't find a good way to deal with it. Hanamichi, who saw this, stood outside the three-point line, dribbling the ball and smiled, "Don't worry, I won't force it this time." As he said that, his face became more and more calm, and the whole person entered a state of complete concentration, and the feeling of controlling everything returned. Chapter 8, The Tsundere Kaed. This feeling. Kaed, who obviously felt the increased pressure, became extremely serious. He stood with his feet one in front of the other, his body leaned down slightly, and his hands were open, staring at Hanamichi's shoulders when he dribbled the ball. Relatively speaking, Hanamichi appeared much calmer, and his face was very calm, without any obvious emotional color. For some reason, in this state, Hanamichi's emotions hardly fluctuate, his mood is also very stable, and his control over his body is several levels higher. Many technical moves that cannot be made now can be easily completed in this peculiar state, and it can even greatly improve the shooting rate, which can be called abnormal. At this time, looking at Kaed who was full of fighting spirit and showed no signs of timidity, Hanamichi smiled faintly. Don't blink. Without fancy technical moves, Hanamichi started his pace abruptly and quickly, and came to Kaed side in an instant. With previous experience, this time Kaed did not press the defense, but retreated to the three-point line, and blocked Hanamichi in the first place, and the two long arms completely blocked the breakthrough route. Prevent it. As soon as the thought appeared, Kaed eyes shrank for a while. I saw that Hanamichi forcibly stopped the movement under the high-speed breakthrough state, took a light step back, crossed a distance of more than 1 meter, came to the outside of the three-point line, jumped up lightly, and after reaching the highest point, lifted the hand threw the ball out. With a slight rotation, the arc is very beautiful. Into the net crisp, no doubt hollow ball. Although it is very exhausting, in this state, shooting becomes too easy. With complete control over yourself, full concentration, and plenty of time to aim, the shot becomes a matter of course. However, the smile on the corner of Hanamichi's mouth fell on Kaerukawa's eyes, but it was a different scene. With a burst of fighting spirit, he directly said coldly. Continue. Come on, I hope I can defend you once today. After receiving the pass from Kaerukawa, Hanamichi rushed forward without hesitation when the opponent was in a defensive position. Strong confrontation ability coupled with top-level explosive power and speed, Kaerukawa had to keep retreating, and had to pay attention to Hanamichi's emergency stop. Crack crack crack. Rhythmic dribbling sounded one after another, and during the breakthrough, just as Kaerukawa was most worried about, Hanamichi stopped suddenly. It was seen that Kaerukawa forcibly stopped his backward steps, but just as he stopped, a gust of wind blew by his side, and Hanamichi was no longer in front of him, so he turned his head away. Boom! Accompanied by a dull sound, Hanamichi hung one hand on the basket, let go of his palm, and landed firmly on the ground. He turned his head and said with a smile, 3-0. So strong, can I win? For the first time in his life, Kaerukawa doubted his own abilities. But only in the blink of an eye, he recovered, shook his head vigorously, shook the anxiety out of his mind, and said calmly. Go on, I will definitely guard against you. Good. Seeing that Kaerukawa is so patient, Hanamichi immediately feels relieved. In the following time, Kaerukawa became more and more courageous, and the time of each round was getting longer and longer, but the result did not change. A clean 10-0. Under Kaerukawa's reference, Hanamichi has a complete understanding of his current strength. Without zone enabled, the shooting accuracy is not enough, and many technical moves cannot be completed at will, so he can only rely on his physical advantages to beat Kaerukawa hard. But after turning on zone, everything becomes very simple, and scoring becomes anything you want. However, the price is not small. Without affecting the game, it can only be turned on for about 10 minutes. If you are desperate, you can do it for 15 minutes or even 20 minutes. It's just that the consequences may be very serious. The zone state was only turned on for less than 10 minutes just now, and Hanamichi is already very depressed now, and he will definitely not be able to fully recover in a short time. If the time is extended, Hanamichi thinks that he will probably faint directly. As for how long it will take to recover from sleep, I don't know, after all, he has never experienced it. Compared to Hanamichi, Kaerukawa's current physical condition is even worse. His whole body is soaked in sweat, his chest heaves violently, and his physical strength is very serious, but his expression is as stubborn as ever. This guy's willpower is really strong, and his strength is not bad, the perfect partner. After a fight, Hanamichi's favor towards Kaerukawa immediately improved a lot, and the inexplicable grievances that had arisen before had dissipated. Basketball is a team sport. Hanamichi feels that he should not be hostile to his teammates, even if they are playing alone. It seems that there is a long way to go. Hanamichi sighed in his heart. At this time, Kaerukawa, who noticed Hanamichi's gaze, had a look of unwillingness. After loading the basketball, he got up and walked over. Sakuragi Hanamichi, I will definitely beat you next time. After finishing speaking, he turned around and walked towards the bicycle leaning against the side of the court, and then walked away. Is it so arrogant? Looking at the back of Kaerukawa riding away on his bicycle, Hanamichi shook his head with a wry smile. He also wanted to leave at this time, but his mental fatigue made him stand a little unsteady, so he could only rest here alone. After about half an hour, feeling refreshed, Hanamichi stood up, looked around the already dimmed environment, and sighed helplessly, should I find a girl, it's really too much to be alone. A little lonely. A petite figure appeared in the mind at the right time, and the corner of Hanamichi's mouth curved into a smile unconsciously. Chapter 9, the final piece of the puzzle. In the early morning of spring, there was still a hint of coolness. Wisps of golden sunlight cut through the sky and shone on pedestrians, bringing a little warmth to many people who were on their way to work. Among the crowded and fast-paced crowd, a tall figure with short fiery red hair was particularly obvious, making those pedestrians who were quickly overtaken pay attention. After seeing the clothes on the figures, they all showed good-natured smiles, and even lamented the beauty of youth, and some even missed their student careers. Who hasn't been late for school when they were young? I believe most people have had this experience. The figure was none other than Hanamichi. After returning home yesterday, he tested his ability desperately again, just as he expected. After seeing this for about 20 minutes, he fully reached the limit, and automatically exited the zone state. The dizziness that seemed to turn hundreds of times in place made Hanamichi faint for only a second. After waking up, without any surprise, he was already late. If you are late on the second day of school, there is no one left, you can't do this again in the future. Shaking his head and not thinking about it anymore, looking at the street corner ahead, Hanamichi heaved a sigh of relief. I'm going to school soon, and I'm only an hour late. It's a blessing among misfortunes. However, as soon as he ran across the corner of the street, Hanamichi accidentally bumped into a pedestrian, and fell forward unconsciously, but the expected pain did not appear, and the ground was soft instead. Are the sidewalks in the island nation so soft? The reality didn't give Hanamichi too long to think, and a peaceful voice pulled him back to reality. That, can you get up? Kindness. Looking down, the object of entry was an old man with white hair and a chubby figure, looking at him helplessly. This is Coach Anze? No wonder it's so soft. What am I thinking? Hanamichi, who understood, left Coach Anze's body in a hurry, and apologized. I'm very sorry, I was reckless just now. It's okay, you're a student of Shohoku. Anze asked. Well, I just entered school. Looking at the kind-hearted old man in front of him, Hanamichi sighed in his heart. Not to mention the level of coaching, his affinity is definitely full of attribute points, but unfortunately, he is too old and unable to do many things. At this time, Coach Anze, who learned that Hanamichi was a student of Shohoku, saw that Hanamichi had been staring at him, but he didn't say anything, and he was not in a hurry. Instead, he looked at him and his eyes became brighter. Basketball is extremely demanding on the body, and Hanamichi's body is undoubtedly the top among his peers. Do you play basketball? After observing, Anze couldn't help asking, his eyes full of expectation. I will lead Shohoku to dominate the country, and I will ask the coach to teach me a lot in the future. Smiling confidently, without waiting for a reply, Hanamichi tentatively asked, Coach, I wonder if you are free now. Dominate the country. This is not an easy task. Anze didn't think too much about Hanamichi's understanding of himself. After all, even if he retired a long time ago, he still has a great reputation in the basketball world of the island country, and his qualifications are here, a senior in the basketball world. At this time, seeing Hanamichi ask if he is free, he couldn't help wondering, available, do you think? I want to take you to meet someone. Thinking of Mitsui's decadent appearance, Hanamichi felt a sense of helplessness in his heart. To untie the bell, the person who tied the bell had to be tied, and Coach Anze had to be involved. Hanamichi, who understood this, explained, Hisashi Mitsui, the coach should have an impression. I think to realize the dream of dominating the country, he is an indispensable part, and the coach should not want Mitsui to sink like this forever. Mitsui. As if some memories were brought back, Coach Anze's eyes showed nostalgia, as well as obvious intolerance and guilt. He nodded immediately and said, Take me to meet that child. Okay. Feeling relieved, Hanamichi walked towards the hospital with Coach Anze. During this period, they chatted one after another. During this process, Hanamichi also gained a deeper understanding of Mitsuyoshi Anze, a Buddhist coach. As expected, due to old age and the psychological trauma caused by the previous player named Guzii, Coach Anze's personality has changed a lot, and his methods tend to be more gentle. And with Anze's coffee position, he is willing to come to Shohoku High School to teach, more for the sake of providing for the elderly, so he doesn't pay too much attention to many things. In Mitsui's matter, Anze undoubtedly has a great responsibility. If Anze had cared and paid more attention to Mitsui when he was injured, everything would have been different for sure. But no one is perfect, everyone will have shortcomings, especially for a very old man, really can't be too harsh. The door of Mitsui's ward. Hopefully everything goes well this time. Considering Mitsui's self-esteem, Hanamichi did not choose to enter the ward with Coach Anze, but stood outside the door, waiting quietly. It has to be said that Mitsui really respects Coach Anze very much. After a while, crying came from the ward. No longer text, or anime dubbing, Mitsui's words that hit people's hearts really sounded in Hanamika's ears this time. Coach, I want to play basketball. In the previous life, you let me have a dream called basketball. In this life, let me accompany you to fulfill that dream of dominating the country. Wiping the teardrops welling up from the corners of his eyes, Hanamichi chose to leave instead of staying in the ward. Team Shohoku's final piece of the puzzle has returned, and the dream is about to begin. Chapter 10, Team Reports. I don't know if it's because of his tall stature and dazzling red hair, or because the teachers in the island country are more tolerant. Hanamichi, who was more than 2 hours late, did not receive too severe criticism, but was given a few instructions. For Hanamichi, who had gone through 12 years of compulsory education in his previous life, the content of the first year of high school is naturally not too difficult. Except for the need to pay special attention to the content of the history class and the pronunciation of the foreign language class, there are no other aspects question. The basketball club is different from other clubs. It needs relevant training after class every afternoon, and rests on Saturdays and Sundays, except for special circumstances. Yesterday, when the class asked for club intentions, Hanamichi had already submitted the application for joining the club. After this day's class, Hanamichi came to the basketball club early. Compared with yesterday's Kongluo, because it was the time to join the club, there were already many people in the arena today. A tall, mature-looking man who resembled an orangutan, it is particularly conspicuous. Because of time travel, Akaji's butt was not exposed. Thinking about it, it seems a little regretful. Sighing a few words in his heart, Hanamichi stepped directly into the basketball court. With a taller figure than the others, red hair, and a confident look on his face, Hanamichi attracted the attention of everyone present as soon as he entered. Red hair, he is Sakuragi Hanamichi, he is very tall, and he has a good spirit. I don't know how good he is. Recalling what his sister said to him last night, Akaji, who was doing statistics, showed anticipation. He is already a third-grade student and will soon face the entrance examination. This county competition is his last chance. Sensing Akaji's strangeness, the wooden curtain at the side followed his gaze and collided with Hanamika's gaze. This man is so tall, I don't know how strong he is. Have you noticed me? Without going up to say hello, Hanamichi found an empty corner, waiting for the assembly, while also observing the players in the arena. The one with the small eyes should be Emperor Kakuta. He should be 1.8 meters tall. It's not easy. Looking around, I found that not counting freshmen, only Akaji and Kakuta the Great were the only ones on the entire basketball team who were over 1.8 meters tall. It was really miserable. As for Kaed Rukawa, he hasn't arrived at the basketball court yet. This sleepy guy is probably sleeping somewhere. After all, his physical exertion was severe yesterday against the Bulls, and with his personality, he probably went to other courts to practice for a while before returning. Family. In this boring wait-and-see, time passed by every minute. In the end, Kaed Rukawa came to the arena with a pinch, and went straight to Hanamika's side without saying a word, but he put on a look full of fighting spirit. Seeing Kaed Rukawa's arrival, Akaji's eyes lit up immediately, and he shouted, "Everyone should have arrived, new players line up." Yes. Akaji's deterrence is still very good, and the new players lined up in a hurry. This guy seems to be fighting against me. Hanamichi glanced at Kaed Rukawa who was next to him in line, and sighed. At the same moment, Hanamichi also noticed Yohei and others lying on the glass window of the arena, watching the situation inside, and couldn't help feeling warm in his heart. Except for Yohei and the others, Haruko and a few girls who were clearly nympho, but their eyes were all focused on Kaed Rukawa. Little girls just have no vision, but I'm no worse than Kaed Rukawa. Hanamichi muttered to himself. At this time, seeing that the new players had already lined up, Akaji began to speak as usual. "I'm Captain Akaji Takenori, welcome to join the basketball team. First let me tell you about the tasks that new players need to be responsible for." After a period of unnutritious speech, I finally got to the point. "Next, please introduce your basic information." Akaji picked up a notebook and prepared to record. "I am Kuwata, who graduated from No. 2 Middle School. I am 162 centimeters tall and weigh 50 kilograms. I was a striker in junior high school. Please give me your advice. With your height, you may be allowed to play as a guard. In the subsequent training, you must strengthen your dribbling and passing, otherwise you will be eliminated." Akaji made his own comments. "Yes. Kuwata echoed loudly. With Kuwata's experience, the rest of the freshmen had no worries, and began to introduce their own situations one by one. I'm Ishii Kentaro, also graduated from No. 2 Middle School, 170 tall. I'm Sasaki Satoshi. I'm. After some introductions, the information of the new team members suddenly appeared on the paper. It was horrible. It doesn't seem to have changed much because of my arrival. Knowing in his heart, Hanamichi's eyes were very firm. With the same lineup, I am much better than Sakuragi, and Mitsui has also returned ahead of schedule. This time, I will definitely complete the goal of dominating the country. Just when Hanamichi secretly made up his mind, Kaed Rukawa's indifferent voice came from beside him. I am Kaed Rukawa who graduated from Fukuoka Junior High School. I am 187 tall and weigh 75 kilograms. There is no specific position. Hearing this, the new players present started talking immediately. The guy said he could play every position. Well, it seems to be, but he is a super rookie of our class, and his strength is very strong. I've watched his games, and his strength is completely beyond the comparison of ordinary people like us. I really can't imagine that there will be a day when we have more people like him as teammates. Yes. Not only the rookies, but even the old players of the team are paying attention to Kaed Rukawa. Rukawa, do you have any hobbies and goals? Akagi asked without changing his face. But the heart is active, and the opposite is a super rookie in the junior high school competition. He even joined his team, and he is expected to dominate the country. Hearing this, Kaed Rukawa thought for a while, then replied, hobby, maybe sleeping. Immediately, the tone of the conversation changed, and he turned his gaze to the side with a sharp expression. The short-term goal is to defeat this guy. What? At this moment, everyone present fixed their eyes on Hanamichi who had been in a soy sauce state. Aware of this situation, Hanamichi sighed helplessly in his heart. The original Loki pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger seems to be impossible now. Without thinking and sighing for too long, Hanamichi introduced himself to everyone's anticipation and curiosity. My name is Sakuragi Hanamichi, I graduated from Wako Middle School, I am 188 in height and 83 kilograms in weight. My goal is to lead Shohoku to dominate the country.